Help! Help! Something's wrong. Emma's voice ripped through the park, frantic, raw, and cracking with terror. For a split second, everything froze. The cheerful music kept playing. The animatronics kept dancing. From the ride's control booth, operator Marcus Chen shouted frantically, "Emergency stop! Hit the emergency stop!" But the emergency stop didn't work. Another cast member scrambled to reach the manual override, her hands shaking as she fumbled with the keys. The system's not responding. It's not responding. In the queue area, children screamed. Parents stood with hands over their mouths. Phones came out, recording horror in real time. Emma's voice came one last time over the ride's intercom system, barely audible over the mechanical grinding. "Please, someone." Then the massive set piece came crashing down, and Emma Reyes' voice was silenced forever. July 15th, 2019. Disneyland. Emma Reyes, 16 years old, honor student, drama club star, beloved daughter. But behind the magical facade was a mechanical monster. 800 pounds of steel and hydraulics, a system corrupted by greed and negligence. And that day, something snapped. In less than 30 seconds, a birthday celebration would turn into a nightmare no one could stop. Emma Reyes would never see her 17th birthday. You're watching Theme Park Tragedies. If this story grips you, subscribe, like, and share, because what you're about to witness is only the beginning. Emma Reyes wasn't just another teenager visiting a theme park. She was the teenager, the one whose Instagram stories made everyone else want to visit, whose excitement was so contagious that strangers would smile just watching her experience the magic. For 16 years, Emma had been counting down to this day, this moment, this ride. To her family, she was sunshine personified. To her drama club, she was destined for Broadway. To the theme park industry she loved so deeply, she would become their greatest tragedy. Emma's obsession with theme parks started when she was 6. Her grandmother had taken her to Wonderland Springs for the first time, and something clicked. The immersive storytelling, the technological marvels, the pure joy of escaping into fantasy worlds. Emma didn't just enjoy theme parks. She studied them. By 12, she had a blog reviewing attractions with the analytical eye of an imaginer. By 14, she was creating concept art for her own ride ideas. By 16, she had already been accepted into a summer program for aspiring theme park designers. Her bedroom walls were covered with blueprints of famous attractions, photos with costume characters, and a countdown calendar to her birthday trip. Emma didn't just ride attractions, she experienced them, said her drama teacher, Mrs. Patterson. She'd analyze the storytelling, the pacing, the emotional beats. She saw theme parks as the ultimate form of immersive theater. Her parents, Maria and Carlos, had saved for months to make this birthday trip special. They'd booked a hotel on property, purchased VIP tour guides, and made reservations at every character dining experience. But Emma only cared about one thing: the Enchanted Voyage. The ride had opened just 3 months earlier to massive fanfare. Industry publications called it revolutionary and the future of theme park attractions. It combined boat-based dark ride elements with unprecedented effects. Rotating vessels, moving set pieces, holographic projections, all synchronized in a technological ballet. Emma had watched every construction update video, studied every press release, analyzed every piece of concept art. She understood the ride's mechanical complexity better than most employees, which made what happened even more tragic, because Emma might have been the only guest who recognized the danger signs. In the weeks leading up to her visit, Emma had noticed concerning reports on theme park forums. Guests complained about jerky movements, mistimed effects, and several temporary closures. One video showed a boat stopping mid-scene, while set pieces continued, moving dangerously close to guests. She actually mentioned it to me, her best friend Sophia later recalled. She said some people online were worried about safety issues, but Emma thought they were just overreacting. She trusted the park completely. That trust was built on a lifetime of magical experiences. Emma had never seen the darkness behind the fantasy, the maintenance shortcuts, the silenced employees, the profits prioritized over safety. To her, theme parks were sacred spaces where magic was real and nothing bad could happen. On the morning of July 15th, Emma woke up at 5 a.m., too excited to sleep. She put on the special birthday outfit she'd planned months in advance, a dress inspired by the costume designs from the Enchanted Voyage. She live-streamed her preparation to her followers, radiating joy that seemed to light up the hotel room. "Today's the day, guys," she said to her phone camera. "I'm finally going to experience the Enchanted Voyage. I've been waiting literally my entire life for this." Her mother Maria watched from the doorway, smiling at her daughter's enthusiasm. She was glowing. Maria would later testify through tears. "I'd never seen her so happy." The family arrived at Wonderland Springs 30 minutes before opening, joining the crowd of eager guests. Emma pulled her family to the front, determined to be among the first to enter. As the gates opened and the orchestral theme music swelled, Emma grabbed her parents' hands. "Promise we'll ride it together," she said, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "This is going to be the best day ever." She was right about one thing. It would be unforgettable, but not in the way anyone imagined. The Enchanted Voyage wasn't just Wonderland Springs' newest attraction. It was their $75 million gamble on the future, a ride so ambitious that 3 engineering firms had declined to build it before they found someone willing to take the risk. The concept came from renowned designer Michael Torres, who envisioned an attraction that would erase the line between ride and reality. Boats would float through physical sets, while synchronized mechanics created the illusion of entering different worlds. But what sounded magical in concept required a dangerous level of mechanical precision in execution. The ride system was a nightmare of complexity. Each boat was mounted on an underwater track that allowed for 360-degree rotation while maintaining forward movement. Above, 47 different set pieces, some weighing over 800 pounds, moved on hydraulic arms, programmed to sweep inches above guests' heads for maximum dramatic effect. It was insanity from an engineering perspective, whistleblower David Park later testified. "We were literally threading needles with multi-ton equipment." The margin for error was non-existent. During construction, Park raised multiple concerns about the Scene 4 thundercloud effect, a massive scenic element that would descend from the ceiling during the Storm King sequence. The original design called for a 6-foot clearance above boats. Budget constraints reduced it to 3 feet. By opening day, cost-cutting had shrunk the margin to just 18 inches. The testing phase revealed terrifying near misses. Internal documents showed that on March 3rd, a set piece in Scene 2 dropped 4 feet lower than programmed. On March 19th, the boat rotation system failed, trapping test dummies under moving scenery. April 2nd brought a catastrophic test when a hydraulic leak caused the Scene 4 thundercloud to free fall, completely crushing a test boat. On April 15th, just days before opening, the emergency stop system failed to halt set piece movement during an evacuation drill. Each incident was documented, analyzed, and then buried. The park's CEO, James Morrison, had staked his career on the Enchanted Voyage opening for summer season. Delays were unacceptable. Safety concerns were overblown. Engineers who protested were labeled as not being team players. Morrison created a culture of fear, Park explained. If you raised safety concerns, you were labeled negative. If you insisted on fixes, you were reassigned. Eventually, everyone just stopped talking. The ride opened on April 20th, 2019, 3 weeks behind schedule, but just in time for spring break. The opening ceremony featured celebrities, influencers, and carefully selected media who gushed about the attraction's innovation. What they didn't know was that 6 engineers had resigned in protest, and the ride was operating on a temporary permit based on falsified safety documentation. Within days, problems emerged. Boats would stop mid-scene while set pieces continued moving. The Scene 4 thundercloud would sometimes drop too low, forcing operators to emergency stop the ride. Sensors designed to prevent collisions would malfunction, allowing boats to enter scenes before set pieces had reset. Each incident was explained away as minor calibration issues, guest comfort adjustments, or routine maintenance improvements. The PR team worked overtime to suppress negative social media posts and compensate guests who experienced problems. But maintenance supervisor Janet Williams kept her own records. Her logs painted a horrifying picture. On May 15th, she wrote that Scene 4 hydraulics were showing metal fatigue and recommended immediate replacement. By June 2nd, she documented that the emergency stop had failed during testing and the override system was non-functional. On June 20th, her report stated the thundercloud was dropping 6 inches lower than spec with catastrophic failure imminent. Her final entry on July 8th was chilling in its directness. "This ride is going to kill someone," she wrote. Her official maintenance request had been denied due to budget constraints. Williams was fired on July 10th, 5 days before Emma's visit. Her replacement was told to keep the ride operational at all costs. The morning of July 15th, the Enchanted Voyage should never have opened. The overnight maintenance check revealed Scene 4 hydraulics were leaking fluid. Position sensors were reading incorrect data. The emergency stop system was responding slowly. Maintenance staff reported unusual groaning sound from the thundercloud mechanism. Everything pointed to imminent failure. Maintenance wrote it up as monitor condition and opened the ride. At 11:47 a.m., Emma Reyes and her family boarded Boat 12. Emma took the front left seat, the perfect view for experiencing the attraction and the worst possible position for what was about to happen. As their boat glided away from the loading platform, Emma turned to her mother with pure joy on her face. "This is it, Mom. This is everything I dreamed it would be." The ride's cheerful narrator welcomed them to their enchanted voyage. The boats ahead disappeared around the corner into the crystal caverns. Behind them, another family boarded, continuing the endless cycle. Everything was normal. Everything was magical. Everything was about to go catastrophically wrong. Wonderland Springs wasn't built on lies. It was built on dreams. But over 25 years, those dreams had been corrupted by spreadsheets, quarterly reports, and a CEO who saw safety as a profit center to be minimized rather than a sacred trust to be upheld. The park's descent began in 2010 when Morrison took over as CEO. A former hedge fund manager with no theme park experience, Morrison saw Wonderland Springs as an underperforming asset. His mandate from investors was simple: double revenue in 5 years or face closure. Morrison's strategy was aggressive cost-cutting disguised as efficiency. Maintenance windows were slashed from 8 hours to 4. Staff levels were reduced by 30%. Safety inspections went from weekly to monthly to as needed. Every dollar saved went directly to the bottom line. Morrison transformed the culture overnight, recalled former operations manager Marcus Chen. "We went from safety first to revenue first." Anyone who questioned it was labeled as not understanding the business reality. The transformation was gradual enough that guests never noticed. Rides still operated. Characters still smiled. Magic still happened. But behind the scenes, a dangerous pattern emerged. Instead of fixing problems, the park got better at hiding them. They hired a crisis management firm that specialized in suppressing negative social media. They created a guest relations team trained to turn complaints into compliments with free passes and merchandise. They developed a maintenance coding system that made serious issues appear minor on reports. When federal inspectors arrived, the park was ready. Problematic rides would conveniently be under refurbishment. Safety documentation would be impeccable because it was fabricated. Inspectors would be guided away from areas with known issues. It was theater, whistleblower Janet Williams explained. "We'd spend weeks preparing for inspections like we were staging a show. The illusion of safety became more important than actual safety. The human cost accumulated slowly. In 2015, a maintenance worker lost 3 fingers when a hydraulic system activated unexpectedly, but it was reported as a minor workplace injury. In 2017, a guest suffered a broken collarbone on a malfunctioning ride, and the incident was settled quietly with a non-disclosure agreement. In 2018, an engineer's report warning of systemic safety failures was buried after the engineer was fired for performance issues. Each incident was isolated, minimized, forgotten. But employees knew. They talked in whispers during breaks, shared concerns in coded language, watched with growing dread as safety margins shrunk and risks multiplied. The Enchanted Voyage represented Morrison's philosophy perfectly. It was ambitious, expensive, and cutting-edge. Everything investors wanted to see. When engineers said it was too complex, Morrison saw opportunity for innovation. When safety experts said it was too dangerous, Morrison saw competitive advantage. Internal emails revealed the true priority. One message stated that safety modifications could be phased in after opening. Another emphasized that guest throughput must be prioritized over excessive caution. A particularly damning email suggested that engineering concerns should be balanced against revenue projections. Perhaps most dishonest was the claim that other parks operated similar attractions without incident. That last point was a lie. No other park operated anything close to the Enchanted Voyage's complexity. Morrison knew it. The board knew it. But admitting it would mean admitting they'd build a $75 million death trap. Emma Reyes became a number on a spreadsheet the moment she entered the park. Guest hashtag for 847 on July 15th. Potential revenue, $426 in tickets, food, and merchandise. Risk factor, acceptable. What the spreadsheet couldn't calculate was that Emma wasn't just a guest. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend. She was a brilliant young woman who loved theme parks so much she wanted to design them. She trusted Wonderland Springs with her life. That trust was about to be betrayed in the most horrific way imaginable. July 15th, 11:52 a.m. The Enchanted Voyage was operating at full capacity. 9 boats circulated through the attraction, each carrying a family's worth of wonder and excitement. In the maintenance booth, temporary supervisor Ron Davies monitored the scene, unaware that the thundercloud mechanism in Scene 4 had been slowly leaking hydraulic fluid all morning. Emma's boat glided through the crystal caverns, her face illuminated by thousands of fiber optic stars. She gripped her mother's hand, overwhelmed by the beauty. "It's even better than the videos," she whispered. The boat's programmed rotation began, giving them a 360-degree view of the glittering cave. Everything worked perfectly. Emma laughed with delight as holographic butterflies seemed to land on their boat before dissolving into stardust. In Scene 2, the whispering forest, animatronic trees bent toward them, their branches forming a canopy overhead. The boat spun gently as fairy voices sang in harmony. Emma filmed everything, her hands steady despite her excitement. 11:55 morgens. As they approached Scene 3, the first sign of trouble appeared. Their boat's rotation felt sluggish, not quite matching the musical cues. Emma noticed immediately. She'd watched enough videos to know the timing was off. "Mom, something feels weird," she said. Maria squeezed her hand reassuringly. "It's probably just part of the show, honey." But Emma knew better. Her extensive research had taught her to recognize when ride systems weren't functioning properly. The hesitation in the rotation, the slight grinding sound from below, these weren't show elements. 11:56 morgens. In the maintenance booth, an alarm flashed on Davy's screen. Scene 4 hydraulic pressure anomaly. He'd seen this warning a dozen times in his 5 days on the job. Following the instructions left by his fired predecessor, he marked it as monitoring and silenced the alarm. Emma's boat entered the mermaid lagoon. Projected water effects made it seem like they were underwater, surrounded by bioluminescent sea life. The boat should have descended slightly here, creating the illusion of diving. Instead, it jerked violently, throwing Emma forward against the safety bar. "Okay, that definitely wasn't right," Carlo said from the row behind. Other guests murmured nervously. 11:58 morgens. 2 boats ahead, another family was experiencing the scene for Storm King's palace. Everything appeared normal. Thunder crashed. Lightning illuminated the massive castle set, and a signature thundercloud descended dramatically toward the boat before stopping just overhead. But maintenance cameras captured what guests couldn't see. Hydraulic fluid dripping steadily from the thundercloud's mechanism, pooling on the track below. 11:59 Uhr morgens. Emma's boat left the Mermaid Lagoon and began the approach to Scene 4. The transition tunnel was dark, filled with ominous music building to the Storm King's reveal. Emma felt the boat's rotation mechanism grinding beneath them, fighting to perform its programmed spin. "When we get off, I'm going to tell them something's wrong," Emma said to her parents. "This isn't safe." Those were the last words she spoke to them. 12 p.m. As Boat 12 entered the Storm King's palace, multiple failures cascaded simultaneously. The hydraulic system controlling the thundercloud suffered catastrophic pressure loss. The position sensors, fouled with leaking fluid, reported incorrect height data. The boat's rotation mechanism, strained from earlier malfunctions, locked mid-turn. The emergency stop system, degraded from deferred maintenance, responded too slowly to prevent disaster. Emma sat in the front left position, directly in the path of the descending thundercloud. She saw it coming, a massive piece of painted steel and fiberglass dropping toward her faster than designed. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened to scream. But there wasn't time. The 800-pound scenic element struck Emma with devastating force. The impact was immediate and unsurvivable. Her mother's scream pierced through the attraction's thunder sound effects. Her father lunged forward, trying desperately to reach his daughter, but the safety bar held him in place. The emergency stop finally engaged, freezing the hellish scene. The thundercloud hung at an impossible angle, pinning Emma's lifeless body. Blood spread across the boat's white fiberglass. The Storm King's theatrical lightning continued to flash, illuminating a horror beyond imagination. 12:01 p.m. Chaos erupted throughout the attraction. Boats behind them came to jarring stops. The ride's soundtrack cut off, replaced by klaxons and automated evacuation announcements. Cast members ran toward Scene 4, their radios crackling with panicked reports. Medical emergency Scene 4. Medical emergency Scene 4. Shut down everything. Full stop. Oh God, there's so much blood. Maria Reyes was hysterical, fighting to free herself from the safety bar, reaching for her daughter. Carlos held his wife while screaming for help. Diego, Emma's 13-year-old brother, sat frozen in shock, unable to process what he was seeing. 12:03 p.m. Maintenance Supervisor Davies arrived at Scene 4 and immediately vomited. The thundercloud had crushed Emma's upper body, trapping her in a grotesque position. First responders would need heavy equipment to even reach her. Other boats were evacuating. Families shepherded past the horror with towels held up to block the view. But everyone could hear Maria's anguished wails echoing through the show building. 12:08 p.m. Firefighters arrived with hydraulic tools to lift the thundercloud. But everyone knew it was too late. Emma Reyes, who had entered the enchanted voyage with such joy and anticipation, was gone. 12:15 p.m. The Reyes family was finally extracted from Boat 12. Maria collapsed and had to be sedated. Carlos moved like a zombie, his mind unable to accept what had happened. Diego hadn't spoken a word. 12:45 p.m. Wonderland Springs theme park was closed indefinitely. Guests were evacuated. The enchanted voyage would never operate again. The ride that was supposed to represent the future of theme park entertainment had become its darkest chapter. Emma Reyes, whose only crime was trusting too much and loving too deeply, paid the ultimate price for corporate greed and systemic negligence. The investigation began within hours. Local police, state safety inspectors, federal regulators, and industry experts descended on Wonderland Springs. What they found horrified even seasoned investigators. Lead investigator Sarah Mitchell had seen workplace accidents before, but the enchanted voyage was different. This wasn't an accident, she stated in her preliminary report. This was inevitable. Every safety system had been compromised. Every warning had been ignored. Emma Reyes was murdered by corporate negligence. The evidence was overwhelming. Investigators found 2 sets of maintenance records. The official books showed perfect safety compliance, while Janet Williams' hidden logs documented critical failures. The Scene 4 hydraulics had been flagged for immediate replacement 6 weeks before Emma's death, but nothing was done. Financial documents revealed every safety deferment traced back to budget meetings where Morrison explicitly chose profits over repairs. One email stated plainly that thundercloud replacement could wait until Q4 and to use temporary fixes to get through summer season. The callousness was breathtaking. 47 former employees came forward with stories of suppressed safety concerns, threatened terminations, and dangerous conditions. 3 engineers revealed they tried to shut down the Enchanted Voyage, but were overruled by Morrison personally. Their testimony painted a picture of systematic intimidation and willful negligence. Security footage showed the thundercloud mechanism leaking fluid for days before the accident. Time-stamped maintenance videos proved supervisors were aware but took no action. The visual evidence was so damning that several jury members had to leave the courtroom during its presentation. But the smoking gun was a June 2019 insurance assessment that rated the Enchanted Voyage as extreme risk with immediate closure recommended. Morrison had buried the report and switched insurance companies rather than address the danger. This single document proved he knew the ride could kill someone and chose to keep it running anyway. The investigation revealed a culture of deception that went beyond simple negligence. Safety sensors have been deliberately miscalibrated to prevent automatic shutdowns that might interrupt operations. Emergency stop delays were programmed into the system to avoid what management called unnecessary ride interruptions. Maintenance codes were specifically designed to hide serious issues from regulatory review. Employee NDAs explicitly prohibited discussing safety concerns, even with family members. The park kept a PR firm on retainer specifically to suppress accident reports and manage negative social media. Most damning was the discovery of previous incidents. On May 3, 2019, a family narrowly escaped death when a set piece fell in Scene 2. The park paid them $500,000 for silence. On June 18th, a boat's rotation mechanism failed, trapping guests sideways as scenery passed inches from their heads. Another payoff, another cover-up. Emma's death was not a tragic accident. It was the inevitable result of a system designed to prioritize profits over people. The public response was explosive. Videos of the accident scene, leaked by traumatized employees, went viral. Parents who had taken their children on the Enchanted Voyage realized how close they'd come to tragedy. The hashtag Justice for Emma trended worldwide. Morrison initially tried to blame Emma, suggesting she had done something to cause the accident. This grotesque victim blaming backfired spectacularly when investigators proved Emma had been properly seated and following all safety instructions. Within a week, Morrison was arrested on charges of criminally negligent homicide. The entire board of directors faced charges. Wonderland Springs' parent company's stock price collapsed. The trial revealed even more horrors. Morrison had received a $3 million bonus for the Enchanted Voyage's successful launch. He'd used Emma's death to negotiate a golden parachute before the investigation began. His lack of remorse shocked even his defense attorneys. "These people trusted us with their lives," prosecutor Amanda Chen told the jury. Emma Reyes loved theme parks. She studied them. She believed in their magic. And we killed her for profit margins. Morrison was convicted on all charges. Sentenced to 25 years, he served only 8 before being paroled. The other executives received lesser sentences. The maintenance supervisors who enabled the cover-up plea bargained for probation. But the real change came from Emma's family. Instead of retreating into grief, they channeled their loss into action. The Emma Reyes Foundation pushed for industry-wide reform. New federal oversight was established. Independent safety inspections became mandatory. Whistleblower protections were strengthened. Every theme park in America shut down attractions for comprehensive safety reviews. 17 rides were permanently closed when similar design flaws were discovered. The industry lost billions, but saved countless lives. Today, a plaque stands where the Enchanted Voyage once operated. In memory of Emma Reyes, 2003 to 2019, she loved the magic. We failed to keep her safe. May her sacrifice ensure no family suffers this loss again. Emma's Instagram account remains active, maintained by her family. The final post, uploaded from the Wonderland Springs parking lot, shows her radiant smile. The caption reads, "About to live my dream." The comments below, thousands of them, all say the same thing. "We're sorry, Emma. You deserved better." If you were moved by this story, consider subscribing to our channel. We bring you dramatic recreations of true tragedies that must never be forgotten. Like, share, and comment below with your thoughts. And remember, no magic is worth a life. Demand safety, question authority, trust but verify. We'll see you in the next episode.